I uh, I regularly see clients undergoing emotional and mental distress, and because of that, I'm here to talk to all of you all to tell you all how mental health is so important. And I want this to be a shared interaction so that even I learn from you all how you all have been coping all these years, and maybe we can exchange notes. Yeah, okay. So let me start by just telling you all that as human beings, all of us are very, very prone to mental distress at some point or the other. We all go through tough times and we feel emotionally overwhelmed. But what has happened is over the years, we think we are okay because we have learned to compromise with these unresolved issues. So sometimes we get okay. But what happens is when these issues are long standing and when they are, when they continue going on and on and on, somewhere or the others, these unresolved issues either take the form of an emotional outburst or a physical illness, which we can't explain. So we keep running to multiple doctors and we try and address the physical issues through medication. But the physical issues don't get okay unless your emotional issues and your mental issues will not get okay. But very few of us learn to address these mental issues. Okay, now can I just ask a very simple question to people, just 3 or 4 people? Why is it that we human beings are so scared of taking help when we are emotionally and or mentally not feeling good? Why is it that people don't seek help? Abhi bhi itna, every Facebook post, Instagram post talks about mental health. Then also people of the older generation and the middle age are not open to taking help. Youngsters are very, very open. So can anybody tell me? Saleh, you can unmute. Yeah, unmute.
Yes, unmute yourself.
What is the fear which seeks people from going to a mental health profession? Yes, ma'am.
Perhaps they're not aware that they
aware.
need help, unaware of needing the help, because you feel you have lived so long, you know everything, you have managed so many issues. So perhaps you feel you can cope with it. You can manage, but it may be coping may be a compromise, maybe a disadvantage, but that's
absolutely.
But
anybody else?
As such.
Lack of confidence.
Lack of confidence, yes. Can you explain further?
I didn't hear your question. I joined a little late.
Okay, so what I'm saying is nowadays there's so much of awareness of, people are constantly talking mental health. Then also many people are resistant to taking help from a mental health professional. Especially people of your generation, people of my generation also are not very happy to seek mental health therapies. Younger generation is changing because they realize that mind is a very important part of the body. Why is the resistance from certain people or most people?
Can I say? Can I say?
Yeah, please.
We think about society, the other family members, what they will think. Am I got mad? Why I'm going? Why I'm taking help? Why I need help? They will think in the opposite direction. They will think, and that is the main problem. You cannot cope up with that. Log kya kahenge?
Yeah. That is our society.
Forget about the log. Even the your relation, blood relation also. They may also think कि क्यों ये ले रही है, क्या issue है, हाँ इसके दिमाग खराब तो नहीं हो गया है, पागल तो नहीं हो गई है, ऐसे क्यों सोच रही है कि she need help.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is the main trauma.
That's the main trauma. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry to say, but it is a trauma.
Absolutely. So as Nafisa ma'am says that people think that what if I'm mad? What will people tell? What will my family people think about me? Then there is another fear is, some people, like somebody said here that no, we don't have confidence. So I don't know how to express myself. I don't know how to talk. I don't know whether the opposite person will be able to understand what I am going through. Then another thing is no one will be able to help me. Okay. Now, what if they share our conversations with others? कि मैं जो बोलूंगी अगर वो और किसी को जाके बोलती है तो या बोलता है तो. Okay. First thing is, your health is your responsibility. Okay. First thing, if we are mentally not okay, it affects our physical health, it affects our emotional health, it affects how we interact with people also. See, if we are angry, with somebody, so हमारा क्या reaction होगा? कोई आएगा तो we will snap at them. Just snap at them completely. Okay, the opposite person won't even know कि ये क्यों गुस्सा है मेरे से. But that is because mentally you're not fine. So it's coming out in your behavior like that. ठीक है? Once in a while it's okay. But if it is happening regularly, then of course you need to address your issues. Okay, so first thing is people feel that nobody will be able to understand me and am I mad? Okay. Now, confidentiality is a very, very important aspect of therapy. Very, very important. So supposing if one of you all comes for therapy, even if your kid comes and asks the therapist, what is my mother undergoing? The therapist will not tell the child. It is between the client and the therapist only. Secondly, therapy is not a process of judging somebody. I have my issues, you have your issues, right? Okay. So if I get somebody who has, say done something horrible, okay, according to him, I as a therapist will not judge the person because I may do something equally horrible. So judging is not what therapy is about. Thirdly is, what if they think I'm mad? If you have a stomach ache or if you have a headache, which is persistent, won't you go to the doctor? You'll run to the doctor, right? You can't breathe. You have a tummy ache. It's not gone for 3-4 days. Your first thing is to run to the doctor. Okay. But mind is such an important part of your body. If the mind doesn't work, it is a part of your body. It's not an external thing. So where is the question when people are saying it's mad? Quite a few mental illnesses do not even require medication. And even if they require medication, it's okay. Because the hormones or the chemicals in your brains are a little imbalanced. So you take medication, it becomes okay. But the other part is therapy, wherein you just come and talk to somebody in a safe place, in an unjudgmental place, where you can be heard, you can speak your heart out, and the therapist will guide you towards a possible good solution, which is decided by you, not by me or a therapist. So why the fear to reach out to somebody when you are mentally disturbed? Is this clear? Any questions on the fear of reaching out? Anybody wants to say anything so that I can help you all or, answer? Yes, ma'am, anybody? Nobody? All clear?
Yeah.
Rusna, let me actually tell you my story on this. I don't think even you know this.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you at all, Saleh.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, a little better.
Okay. So my story is very similar. About 20 years ago, my company made me do something very important to the company, where I had to sack, in other words, fire 200
I can't
people.
hear. I can't understand anything. Can everybody else hear him?
Yes,
Yes,
we can hear.
Oh, then
We
do
can
it.
I
hear.
had to lay off 200 people
Clear.
in my company.
What he's saying is clear to us.
Yeah, I had to lay off 200 people because it was my job to do it. I was very young. I was in the 20s, and I had to do that. I actually went into serious depression before I had to do my job. I actually went to a therapist 25, maybe 20 years ago. I remember the year very, very well. Where therapist actually did not actually give me an answer, made me think on why I'm doing what I need to do. And why did I, and finally I did do it. That company, by the way, is doing exceedingly well. I actually did go to a therapist for months, but the therapist actually, I think I did it for about 3 months. And it actually helped me do what I need to do. That was professional, but I can imagine how that does it personally also. Thank you.
Anybody else needs to share anything?
Yeah, mainly it's the trust factor only, as you mentioned.
Right, no, the trust factor. Yeah, okay. So we are all trained and we are taught that, I mean, obviously when you are coming to a therapist, you are going to be sharing your innermost fears, your innermost emotions with the therapist. So go by your gut feeling. If you're comfortable sharing, please share, because our gut is very strong and has very strong instincts. If you're comfortable with the person, please do it, but therapists will never share. If the person is trained, आजकल बहुत quacks हो गए हैं market में, so make sure you go to somebody who is a trained therapist with a proper degree, not a 3-month course or a 6-month course. So even if you want, before you approach somebody, ask them their qualifications, see your comfort level, and then start the therapy process. So basically, it's like you're just talking, okay? And unless you require medication, then the therapist might send you to a psychiatrist, but that doesn't happen too often. Unless there is a real chemical imbalance in the brain, or you have a genetic mental health condition or something like that. But for most problems, what people your generation are going through, senior citizens, could be loneliness, could be anger issues, could be emotional distress. You know, sometimes what happens is we are not, as people, we are not taught to share our emotions openly. So we don't share what we go through. So the opposite person will never know what we are going through. Another thing, Indians are expert at mind reading. Okay, experts at mind reading. So we will say, वो ऐसे सोचता है, वो ऐसे सोचती रहेगी, वो मुझे मेरे बारे में बुराई सोचती है. But you don't know. Even my in-laws, okay, same thing. My mother-in-law will keep saying, वो अभी ऐसे सोचती है. So I would tell her, I said, how can you know what she's thinking? But based on what we think they are thinking, we act or we react. You know, which is a very, very common in everybody generally. Okay, you may be angry at somebody, at your son, for example, or your daughter-in-law. Okay, and in your head you are thinking different things. Okay, abhi she is thinking like that, she is going to react like that, but maybe she's not thinking anything. So that is another main problem, that we Indians love to mind read what other people are doing, which we will never know. So I'm just giving you all just simple everyday pointers, which, you know, which can hamper the way we think and the way we feel. Yeah, does this make sense? This thing of not releasing emotions. So if you're angry with somebody, we will never go and tell the person, "Arey, I'm angry with you." No, you will start behaving badly. You will start insulting them. You will say something nasty to them. But the opposite person doesn't even know why you're angry. So if you just address it assertively, not aggressively, and then all that anger accumulates, and one day comes out into a fight, into a big blown out of proportion fight, which started on something very small. So if we just address the anger in a positive way, it will help us also, plus it will help our relations with others also. Okay, now, so we now all good for why don't people reach out. So now next time anybody facing any emotional distress or mental distress will reach out, not to a therapist. Yeah, okay. Okay. Now next one is, okay, why is mental health important? Why do you think it's important?
Yeah, it will help you improve productivity.
Yes, absolutely. What else?
It gives you peaceful life.
Yes. Yes.
Health wise,
Sorry?
it affects our health.
Yes. Health wise. Absolutely. Most
Help
important.
mental,
Sorry?
help
It
mental
reduces
relationship,
the tension.
Mental health.
relationship maintenance.
Yes. Maintaining your relationships. Absolutely. Okay. Okay. The first most important thing why mental health is important is because it can affect our physical health. Most important. Okay. There are times when people are very anxious and they get something called a panic attack, which is similar to a heart attack. Okay. That comes because of the stress or because of the anxiety. Rush to the hospital. Doctor ECG karega, cardiogram karega, sab nikalega. The cardiologist will say there's nothing wrong with you. There's something in your mind, something which is stressful in your mind. Okay. So that is how it can affect your physical health to such an extent. If your mind is strong, people have got out of terminally ill cancers. I have a friend and a client who was diagnosed with breast cancer 3 years back, and her breast cancer was 3rd stage breast cancer. So her body was subjected to so much chemotherapy and radiation, everything. After 3 years, she got leukemia. Now, leukemia is deadly. It's like a death trap. Okay. So when she got leukemia, all the doctors in Bombay told her that, you will not live. I mean, your body's already been subjected to so much of trauma. It's very difficult. Kuch nahi hoga tumhare se. This happened last year in May. And many doctors also told her that, go back home and just spend the last few days with your family and enjoy life, because your body will not be able to take it. So she spoke to me and she came to me, and also we worked on the motivational aspect and everything. She went to Vellore to get her treatment done. And as we speak, she's finished her bone marrow transplant. It will be 1 year in September for her bone marrow transplant, and she's fine. So she's still alive. When all the doctors, they have taken opinions from doctors abroad also. And all the doctors told her, tumhara kuch nahi hoga. And I mean, it was a very, very tough process for her, very painful, very difficult. But the fact of the matter is that she went through it and she's still alive. So such is the power of the mind. And leukemia, we all know you will die. My own cousin was 31, but he couldn't take it because he was all alone in the hospital for the bone marrow, and he passed away with no vices. But this lady, because her mind was so strong, she's come out of it beautifully. So this is just one example of how mental health affects your physical health. Okay, then it helps you to cope easily with the stresses of life. Because you're mentally well, okay, you have a stressful situation, you will cope with it happily. Thirdly, it helps you to have good, healthy, and productive relationships with people. When you're irritable, when you're angry, when you're upset, you tend to snap at people. You're in your own zone. You don't want to confide in people. You don't want to talk to people. So that impairs your relationships also. Somebody said it helps you to work productively, 100%. It helps you to realize your full potential. So like I can do this. Okay? So when you're mentally challenges you have in your work career also, and you will want to give it your best. It helps you to be content and happy. It helps you to sleep well in the night. Basically, no tension. Last one, it helps you in correct decision making. Many times when we are angry, we end up making very impulsive decisions, which we may regret later. Or if you're very emotional, you may end up making decisions on an emotional note. Which very often happens with me. I see somebody and then I feel bad and then I give money and then I realize later, okay, it was a con. He cheated me or she cheated me. But emotionally, when you make decisions also later on, you might regret it. So when you make decisions calmly. When your mental health is absolutely fine, you can make good decisions. So don't make decisions when you're angry, important decisions. Angry when you're upset. You know, many times we may fight with our parents, or we may fight with our children, and children will want to say, I'm leaving the house and going away in that anger. And because they've said it, then they stick by it because it becomes an ego hassle. Even with parents, many times I've seen parents telling their children, get out of my house, get out of my house, get out of my house. Okay. Then they regret it when the kids actually go away. So when you're angry, it's a natural emotion. Learn to deal with it in a positive way. Take a break, go into your room, lock yourself up in your room for like 15 minutes till the anger subsides, and then come back and address the situation. Yes, everybody, is this fine? So this is why mental health is so important. Any questions on this, or we are good? Any feedback, anything? Any
Husna,
observations? Anybody has dealt with something like this?
can you explain the process of what a person would go through when they take mental health help? In other words, how do you approach a mental health professional? What will happen in the first 3, 4, 5 sessions?
Okay, so what happens is when you are mentally not feeling good is you stop. First thing is either people stop eating or they start eating too much. Either you stop sleeping completely because of the worry or the anxiety, or you're sleeping too much. So basically a change in your eating and sleeping habits. Then withdrawing from people and activities you once enjoyed. So for women, supposing if you're a homemaker, you used to love cooking, making new recipes for the family and things like that. So now you're like, Arey yaar, I don't want to cook at all. You know, mujhe money nahi kar raha hai kuch bhi karne ke liye. You don't feel like getting out of bed. For example, you were going out for a walk every day in the evening. You don't feel like doing it. Mujhe kantala aa raha hai, mujhe nahi jana hai. Okay, you had a group of friends who you used to meet, socialize with. Again, I don't want to meet them. I don't want to meet anybody. So these kind of feelings which you have is a sign you may require to go and talk to somebody. Then you have unexplained aches and pains. You don't know, you've gone to the doctor for everything, but you're getting aches and pains over your body. Doctors cannot diagnose anything. I had a client who was like, 54, 55, something like that. And for 15 years, he was on some psychiatric medication and all that. And then he developed so many aches and pains over his body. Doctors took him for multiple tests, everything. Nothing came out of those tests, okay? And he had put on so much weight and everything. Finally, they told him, come for therapy. He came for therapy. We realized that, he was talking. He was sandwiched between his mother and his wife. Very dominating mother. Sister was married. But then also the sister was permanently in their house, day-to-day problems. But because he was a man, he couldn't stand up for his wife because the mother would tell him, you're taking your wife's side, which he tried, okay? He couldn't, and he couldn't stand up for the mother because the wife would feel. And he knew that what the mother was doing was not correct with the married sister encouraging her and all that. And because of this, he had internalized it so much. He used to sleep only 20 minutes in a day, only 20 minutes in 24 hours. So he was getting these aches and pains all over his body. And this is a normal problem which every household faces when you live together. But this guy internalized it so much that, and he's got kids, his daughter is about to get married. And he internalized it so much that it came out in this negative way. So unexplained aches and pains is very this thing. Having severe mood swings. Either you're very, very happy or you're just down in the dumps and you don't know why. Another thing is when you think of harming yourself, very important. That is a trigger alert. Harming yourself or harming somebody else. So as soon as the thought of harming yourself or harming somebody comes in, please approach somebody for help. Please. Okay, the other symptoms, what I have told you, for example, the change in eating and sleeping habits, withdrawing from people and activities, sometimes having absolutely no energy. Like I have clients coming and telling me, I just don't feel like getting out of bed. I don't feel like doing anything all day. Okay. Unexplained aches and pains. You've gone to the doctor. Doctor ne bola hai sab kuch theek hai. Okay. All these other symptoms have to last for at least 2 weeks continuously. Then you approach somebody for help. So these are the signs that you may have a mental illness. Okay. Now, yeah, any questions on this? But the minute you have a thought of harming yourself or harming somebody else, that's the time you need to actually pick up the phone and call somebody. Please.
ऑर्डर डाल रहे इसमें थोड़ा सा.
Sorry.
Is there any center for rehabilitation of this kind of problem?
What do you mean by a
Is
center?
there any rehabilitation center for handling this kind of problem?
There's no
Any
center,
center?
but ma'am, you can reach out to Sale and Sale can guide you.
Yeah, because I have a relative who is undergoing this kind of trauma, like, you know, her husband betrayed her, her father betrayed the mother, and she's undergone a lot of trauma. And now she's under, the doctor says she might commit suicide. So somebody should remain with her all the time, 24 hours. So if it is like that, is there any center who can take care of this lady?
There are old age homes and all.
And help her come out of this situation.
So she needs to undergo therapy. So 1 second, I'll just tell you. The next session question is, how does a typical therapy session with a mental health therapist work? Say in the first 3-4 sessions. Yeah. So the first 2-3 sessions are basically rapport building, gaining the trust of the client, and just working on small issues around the client. And then you delve into the deeper issues once the client is comfortable with you. So that is how mainly a mental health therapy session works in the first 3-4 sessions. Sometimes the rapport is developed in the first session, if the client is very open and the client takes to you. So in the first session only you will see change. But therapy cannot be forced on anybody. So I have parents coming and telling me, my child requires it. No, but if the child is not ready, kuch nahi hoga. It has to be it's a two-way process. So the client has to be willing. There is homework which is given in therapy, which the client has to do at home. And when the client comes to me, I try and maintain contact for the first week with the client, you know, so that he just gets into the therapy mode for a week. So that's how it typically works. There is homework to be done in therapy. The client has to work as hard as the therapist. Then only the process works. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So I have people coming and telling me that my mother needs therapy or my father needs therapy. No, but if the mother or father is not ready, so nahi hoga. Yesterday, I have a client who's on the ship and his father is undergoing a terminally ill cancer. And he messaged me, I want my dad to consult with you. I said, fine, I'll do it. But his father was not ready. So he's trying to convince his father to come to me for therapy. So once he's ready and he comes, then the therapy process is very effective. So you can start work even in the first session. I have clients where I have started work in the first session and my clients are doing good. But it depends on the comfort level the therapist has with the client as well as the client has with the therapist. So that is how it works mainly. And therapy is not anything internal. So there's no medication given, nothing. But if the therapist feels that, okay, this client needs medication, okay, then the therapist will tell the client to see a psychiatrist who will give medication. Because then medication and therapy work hand in hand. Yes, ma'am, I've answered your question. Sale, unmute.
My question was, somebody to look after her is very difficult because both children are working and no one can stay home with her. So there should be some place where she can stay and get treated, you know. 24/7, yes.
So they have old age homes now. They have a lot of old age homes, or maybe in the house the kids can pull in money and keep a the caretaker who will take care
No,
of the
but no, old age home takes 60+ person and she's just 50+.
Oh. So then I think one of the kids should
50
stay
plus.
with her. See, that depends on the family. Ma'am, we can give support in terms of therapy and all, but where to stay and what to do is a call which the family has to take. Yeah, Nafisa, you wanted to say something?
No, I am happy with your session.
Yeah, ma'am, Sarah, have you understood? So see, where to make her stay and all is the call.
I understood.
That, yeah, see, we can give her terms in front of therapy sessions or whatever, but usko rehna kidhar hai, karna kidhar hai, that the family has to take a call. And if she has kids, then it's the kids who have to take a call.
That is what they do right now, but it's very difficult for them to manage, you know.
Right.
The job does not continue if you remain absent for, you know, longer time. They are both on jobs now. The boys are on jobs.
Yeah, but then see, that's a
So
call
they're
the
looking
family
for
has
some
to take.
place where she can be put.
55, you're saying then old age homes will not take. See, that's a call the family has to take. That me and
No, 50.
I
No,
cannot-
she's just 50+, yes.
so that is the call the family has to take.
And
What they have to do with her. That I cannot guide you. There are options. If she's
No, I'm
suicidal and all that, yes, she has to take therapy session. Maybe if she's getting these suicidal thoughts, she may have to consult a psychiatrist for medication also. Okay, but apart from that, there's nothing else I can tell you. That's a call the family has to take. Yeah. Okay. So this is clear now. Very shortly, I'll just explain to you all what is the difference between depression and sadness, which is a very, very common thing which happens. Can anybody tell me what do you all think is depression?
a loss of hope.
Loss of
Hope. And confidence.
yes. And
Giving up on everything. Giving up on everything.
yes,
Just giving up.
just living up.
Yeah.
Okay, so sadness is typically, we all go through sadness at some point or the other. You know, you lose a close friend, you lose a relative, especially in this pandemic, we are seeing a lot of all this, right? Losing people, things not going according to what we want, how we want them to go. You know, they go a little haywire, whatever. So sadness we experience regularly. Somebody has lost a job. So that is all sadness. So everybody goes through sadness, but we all get okay in 2-3 days. I mean, we put it behind us and then we look forward to a future, right? I mean, a good future. A friend passes away, you mourn the friend's loss, you mourn a parent passing away, whatever. So but you move on from that. Depression is when you don't move on, when you're stuck at that place. You're just stuck. So you stop eating, you stop drinking, either you're eating too much, either you're eating too less, either you're sleeping too much, either you're sleeping too less. So basically this is depression, and the symptoms again have to last for 2 weeks. But we have people telling us so casually, oh, I'm depressed. Oh, I'm depressed. Okay, we are depressed. But that is not depression. That is sadness which people undergo. Depression is actually a mood disorder which affects how we think, feel, and behave. Very important. It is. So there is a lot of sadness. There's a low mood. There's a lot of anger. There's demotivation. There's a feeling of hopelessness. You know कि मेरे साथ तो बुरा ही होने वाला है, कुछ अच्छा होने नहीं वाला है अभी इसके साथ में. मेरे साथ तो ऐसा ही होता है. There's nothing to look forward to. Often too much sleep or too little sleep we get. General feeling of lethargy. All this is depression. Mainly you have a lot of anger in you. You feel that कुछ भी मेरे साथ सही नहीं होगा. See, we have a lot of people coming and telling us nothing ever goes right with me. My life is only jinx. मेरे साथ कुछ अच्छा ही नहीं होने वाला है. So that whole negative attitude towards life, that is depression. Plus sadness, sleeping. Depression is also when you are guilty, no, not guilty, when you are actually thinking about the past all the time and you are blaming yourself for mistakes which you have made in the past. Depression is worry about what has happened in the past, okay, your mistakes, which you think have ruined things for you. And anxiety is worry about the future. A lot of us undergo anxiety, which is an unexplained worry about the future. Aage kya hoga? Aage sab bura hoga. Yehi hone wala hai. You know. So again, we are predicting the future. That is anxiety. So the situation is there. For example, you have to go for a test, for a medical test tomorrow. Okay. But in your head, you are thinking, "Arey, I'm going to get cancer. It's going to be like this. I'm going to die." So that is anxiety, which you are creating for yourself. Yeah, all clear? Okay. Now, lastly, how can we improve our mental health? Can anybody tell me?
By getting involved with various activities,
Yes.
Thinking
by doing
positive.
some mind puzzles and mind quizzes, or taking up to something new that we can work on.
Very good. What else?
And thinking positively
Yes.
for others also and for us also.
Yes.
Meeting positive people.
Yes. What else?
Listening to classical music, pop music, rock and roll music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. First one is learn to value yourself, which we don't do. So you learn to value yourself, avoid self-criticism, treat yourself with kindness and respect. Most important, don't self-criticize. Normally, we always have the habit of criticizing. We only focus on our weaknesses. We don't focus on our strengths, and we don't appreciate our strengths. मेरे से ये नहीं होता है, मेरे से वो नहीं होता है, you know. I'm like this, I am like that, in a negative way.
Prayer.
So yeah, sorry, somebody is saying something.
Prayer. Pray to God.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So first one, you value yourself. You treat yourself with kindness. Make time for hobbies. Something you like to do. Could be anything. Anything. You like listening to music, make time listening to music. You like watching TV, make time to watch TV. You like cooking, make time for cooking. You like baking, make time for cooking. For baking. And you like reading, make time for reading. Keep 1 hour a day for your hobbies. Whatever you like. Take care of your body. Eat healthy, no substance abuse, lead a disciplined lifestyle, exercise, very important. Because exercise releases good hormones in the body, which makes you feel good. So be regular with walking. All the doctors advise walking. Do yoga, meditation, but please walk. Now that things are better, wear your mask and go down in the building and walk, or go on the terrace and walk with your mask. Walking is a very good exercise. Surround yourself with positive people.
But in these rainy days, we are scared if you slip.
Yeah, right. So try and walk in the house.
In the house, yes. But I mean, otherwise you go to the terrace and all, we are frightened. Yeah, if you slip,
so walk in the house.
Gaya comes say.
Yeah, so walk in the house.
Okay.
Try walk, but walk at least half an hour. Try and walk, please. It's a very, very, I mean, you know, it's a very positive exercise, walking, because the good hormones are released in your head and you feel good. Yoga helps to calm your mind, which is also very good. Meditation is good. Okay, then surround yourself with positive people. Very important. Don't surround yourself with negative people, please. Because आपके साथ में negative होगा, वो पूरा दिन they keep whining, वो हमारा mental health भी affect करता है. You know, like they come and tell you, "Arey, today my daughter-in-law did this, my son did this, falana thing." All the time negative. We also get involved in that whole thing. So surround yourself with positive people, happy people. Very important. Volunteer for charitable causes. When you help other people without any gain, the happiness you get is undescribable. Any kind of charitable cause, anything which makes you feel happy, even if you give food to your maid, or anything what you want to do. Because of the lockdowns, we can't go out, we can't help as much as we would like to, but whatever small thing you can do. You have a maid's kid at home, call the kid with the mask, you sit with the mask, make the kid study. Anything by which you feel privileged to be a part of society. Because when we actually see people who don't have the means what we have, we feel, we start valuing what we have. Okay. Learn how to express your emotions. 95% of the problems in our lives are caused because we don't express our emotions in a healthy way. So learn how to express your emotions in a healthy manner. Very important. Don't judge people. Today we are, y'all are seniors, y'all have done things in an XYZ manner. Doesn't mean that your daughter-in-law, son has to do things in that XYZ manner. The clash happens when you expect people to do something what you want them to do and they don't deliver. Let go. Be easy. Okay, it's not going to be the end of the world. So just learn to let go. You'll be happier. Be grateful. Most important. Gratitude. As I said, we human beings focus only on what we don't have. Arey, I don't have a big house. I don't have a big car. I don't have this. I don't have that. But focus on what you have. You may be staying with many people in your house. Maybe you don't get along with your daughter-in-law, but think that at least I have a daughter-in-law. Kal mujhe kuch hoga, at least she'll come running to me. So value people, value relationships around you. Lastly, please seek help when you need it. As we discussed, there's nothing wrong in seeking help. Okay, before I end, I just want to just tell you all that we at TARE are planning to start a support groups. Can anybody tell me what do you all think is a support group?
People with the same kind of trouble that we are going through. Many people. So we are able to understand them and we are able to guide them.
Okay, what else?
Sharing our problems.
Yes.
Sharing our problems so that, okay.
You get relief out of that?
Sharing our problems, understanding that we are not the only ones who go through this.
Yeah.
There are others like us also, because every time we think that, oh, I am
the only one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so everybody around is also going through the same problem like us. Okay,
Absolutely.
learning to share experiences and how you handled it from each other. Okay, fine. Okay, so maybe Dr. Kausar has a particular thing which he handled in an X manner. Okay, and Sarah ma'am also has the same problem. So Dr. Kausar can tell her, I tried this. Why don't you try this? And you're not alone. Okay. Then supposing somebody else has another problem. Okay, I did this. So through a support group, you are there basically to support each other and to realize that I'm not the only one going through this. There are other people also who go through similar issues, and everything in life is tackled. Maybe how I'm doing it is not 100% working for me. So maybe I can learn from what somebody else is doing. Okay, plus you have a facilitator. So I will be doing the support groups. So you have a facilitator, so you get an expert's opinion also, or expert's view on it also. Not an opinion, it's mainly expert's view on how best you can deal with the situation. So this is what we are planning to have the support group. We are planning to start next week on loneliness. because we realize that a lot of people from this generation, from your generation, undergoes loneliness, which is a silent killer, as I put it. You know, because we are social beings, we need to have people around us. Okay. So basically, how to tackle loneliness, how to cope with loneliness, how you are, when you are faced in a lonely situation, how do you reach out to people? What can you do to make yourself less lonely? You know, learn from others' experiences. So this is how we plan to do it. Maybe starting from next week, we plan to have a minimum of 4 people in a group, maximum going to about 8 or 9 in a group. So everybody is equally heard, everybody is can equally speak out what they are going through. Yeah. So any questions on this? And Tare will kind of reach out to you all with a flyer and everything. Any questions on support group? Any other questions you'll have?
I want to ask you, if you take medicine, then medicine is addictive. You get addicted to that medicine?
No, you don't. See it. Your question is, you get addicted to the medicine.
Yeah.
No, not necessary. Do you get addicted to a medication for your stomach?
No. No.
You don't, right?
No. Yeah.
You don't get addicted, right?
No.
So if you require it, you require it. You know. I mean, why give yourself that trauma?
Yes.
You know, if you feel relaxed, like I got a medical student, 19-year-old girl, who I'm doing therapy with from Hyderabad. Okay, she was very upset, and she's crying, and she self-harmed herself. Being a medical student, she self-harmed twice. Couldn't study, nothing. She has a long-standing history of abuse and all that also. So she came to me, and the first thing I told her, I said, see, you need to see a psychiatrist because you're crying all day, you're not achieving your productivity. So along with counseling and medication, it's a superb combination, and you'll be absolutely fine. And it's been 2 weeks since she has started the medication, and she's doing brilliantly. She has started studying again. You know, she's putting in the effort. She's studying like how she used to study previously. Plus, she's happier. She's more content with the combination of therapy. So now tell me, if this girl would have not taken medication, I mean, what would her life would have still been as bad, right? So hasn't medication helped her?
And
right. So what is the?
Yes,
I mean,
medication and this goes hand in hand.
Not for every case. Not for every case.
Okay.
Not for every case. Like out of the, maybe I've got about 45 clients. Out of that, only 2 are on medication. The others are only on counseling sessions. So not for every case. That is the myth people have, that we require medication for all men. No. It's not for every case. Extreme cases which do not go with counseling, or if there is a condition like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, which is not only treatable with therapy, you need a combination of both. But most kinds of, like, people from your generation will have that's what I think. Maybe you all will have mild depression or emotional issues, or mental distress or stress or anxiety, which you don't require. Most of them don't require medication. As I said, if these symptoms are lasting for more than 2 weeks, interfering in your day-to-day routine, you come to the counselor. Counselor will figure out whether you need medication or no. Most of them don't require medication. See, when it is self-harm, what happens is, even for us as therapists, you get scared because, therapy karega, but the medication will control the chemicals in your brain, right? So you do not require medication for everything. And I'm telling you again, even if you do require, if you have a heart problem, you will take your medication, right? If you have your BP problem, you will take that Telma for the rest of your life, right? So if you require medication for 2-3 months, the chemicals in your brains are not working properly, what is the harm? If you require. I have answered your question? Yeah? Okay. Any other questions? Happy to answer. Yes, Dr. Costa, tell me please.
What is bipolar disorder?
See, I'm not getting into all this right now. If you want, you reach out to me privately. These are just,
Okay.
I don't want to kind of, just scare people right now with all these names.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so do we end now?